everyone, and welcome back to CPD TV. Today we're at the business show at the Excel Arena in London, and we're here with Dr. Fiona Warner-Gale, Thinking Through Academy. So Fiona, tell us a little bit about what you do at Thinking Through Academy.
Okay, so we all started out life working in mental health as clinicians, so quite all three of us who lead the company were recognising that there was this big issue for people in business, in companies, around stress and how they handled it, getting the best out of their workforce, enabling them to work with that, achieve higher productivity without getting stressed out. And because I've done a lot of research into the brain and how it works, we thought we got interested in how you apply that. So we got interested in how neuroscience can help people in the workplace focus better, have less stress, achieve more. And it actually helps with things like, throughput of staff, attrition, sickness, people who are really, really sort of getting overwhelmed with things. And so if we teach them about the brain and how it works and how to use those interventions, we're seeing a happier workforce, a lot more psychosocial safety in the workforce.
So how do you use neuroscience to inform that training?
So what we've done is, the research is really quite complex at times, and not everybody wants to look at academic papers. So what we've done is we've taken that research and we've applied it in real life situations. So we train people about the fundamentals of how your brain works, how to make sense of that, what happens when you're under stress and how that affects your body and your thinking. And then we've looked at interventions that match onto those like stress reduction techniques, understanding yourself and the emotions and why the brain has emotions, how we get the best out of our memory, how we make decisions under pressure. So they're training programs. We've got a shorter one which focuses just on stress mastery. And so it's a combination of self-directed learning about the brain and facilitated calls with an expert like myself. And so it's based on neuroscience, what we know about the education of neuroscience in education. So they learn very short chunks, and then we come together and we think, okay, what's this mean for me? What does this mean in practice? How am I then going to apply it to people around me as well? So it really helps with that collaboration. So that's a 3-month program. And then anyone who's a bit of a brain geek like I am, we've got an 18-month program, does a really deep dive into brain science, and we start with the individual. Everything that we do around neuroscience starts with you and how you understand yourself. And then we look at how you transfer that into your organisation or with your clients. And it leads to higher productivity. We're seeing people work less but getting more done. So you can even move to like a 4-day week based on our techniques and still get the same amount of work done. And then we look at organisations. So I think since COVID, which was the last pandemic, we're seeing the stress pandemic now. People are leaving work. They're giving up, and that's not good for businesses and organisations. So really this is about helping people to feel that they're getting the best out of themselves. They're not pushing into overwhelm. They're not working, pulling all the hours. They're looking after their own brain and body, and actually we found the techniques work at home as well.
Well, there you go. Win-win. So let's talk a little bit more about how you kind of structure your courses and how you ensure that the learning you're delivering is quality. So you said you kind of do those self-directed sessions. Tell me a little bit more about that and how you make sure that learning is effective and really hitting home.
So I'm from an academic background, so I've done a lot of studying around how people can embed learning and get the best out of it. So as I said before, it's all based on research, so we take the latest research, we're constantly looking at what there is there. Of course, that doesn't mean people learn it. So it's in what we know from education neuroscience is that if you chunk things into smaller bits, people can concentrate and focus for longer. Of course, that's not not it, and you would know in CPD. So they learn through a video-based learning program. So that's the self-directed stuff. You can stop it. You can explore bits of it. It has a reflective element, so we know that reflection's really useful in education. We are applying our learning to real life situations. And then what we know from educational neuroscience is if you want to really embed stuff in your memory, you have to have space in between. So like in the traditional school, you're there all day, you're learning all sorts of things. You come home, you're like, I can't even remember a thing. So by chunking it into smaller bits and adding spacing, that really helps people. But then what we then do is we bring people together and they just focus on the module that they've done. So we don't let them run ahead. We do the one module and then we have a facilitated call. So that helps them think about what they've learned, how they apply it, to learn from other people. But alongside that, we also have a discussion board that they can contribute to. That's the model we use. So the space, the learning, the spacing, the consolidation through reflection, the learning from other people.
So I've seen you do a lot of leadership coaching, leadership training as well. Why is good leadership so important, particularly in the learning space?
Yeah, so what we found was we've done a lot of work in the public sector. We were seeing that leaders were getting overwhelmed. Myself, I worked at a very senior level in the Department of Health for a while. And so what we did was we thought, you know what, we know a lot about leadership. We got together experts on leadership and we've thought about where are the places where you can influence how it is in the workplace. So we start with leaders. They don't have to be chief execs. Aspiring leaders all the way up to chief execs. But if you get that part right, the leadership part right, you can then start to get them to work with their teams. So it's like a cascade kind of approach. But I think many people fall into leadership by accident. I kind of did, but because I'm really curious, I then started to look at, so what is leadership? What does it mean to me? What does it mean to the people I work with? And that's why we now work on leadership and don't work in a clinical capacity. And because we understand people, because of mental health and neuroscience, bringing the two together, it's like a great recipe, really. Yeah.
That's really interesting. Well, thank you so much for speaking to me today. It's been really great, and we hope you enjoy the rest of the show. And we'll see you again soon.